like we're talking about real life. We've been talking about real life lately, kind of the good, the bad, and the small wins. And I've got a free gift for you all just to thank you for hanging out. It is an ebook, it's a free affirmation ebook. And that link is down in the description box below. So, on this channel, oh, hi, friends, I'm Gayle, and welcome to Be Bodacious. And on this channel, I share real life stories about travel with a service dog and RV life, but also life with a disability and some honest conversations about chronic illness. And my whole goal on this channel is to show that you don't have to let life stop you from living. We all have things in our life, the good, the bad, the ugly. Some days are going to be better than others, whether you have a disability or not. That's just how life goes. And on this channel, I just want it to be a safe space, if you will, for you all to be encouraged. And when you're in the chat, just type in, whatever comes to your mind that you want to talk about. We're going to go down that rabbit trail and we're going to talk about it. And I'm going to kind of catch you up on kind of what's been going on the past week. And we're going to talk about that free ebook, which is linked. And that's just a free gift from me to you all. And if you like to color, there's some coloring pages on it as well. And like I said, it's totally free. There's no registering, no paying, nothing like that. I just want to do something for you all, for just kind of being part of the channel and hanging out with me. So I see we have some folks in the chat. Lionel Trains, welcome. Spider-Man the Hero is welcome. I know. Red Letter Day. For those of you who come in and you don't know, there was like a week ago where YouTube just was not talking to Streamlabs, and that was problematic. Let's just say that. Spider-Man was here and a couple of others, and it was just. Now we don't have to worry about that tonight. I'm live, actually. I'm very excited to actually be here without too much trouble. So, yeah. Thanks, YouTube, on that, right? And I'm not going to say what Spider-Man the Hero said to say, because I said that one week and it caused him problems, and I don't want to do that. And Lionel Trains is in the house saying he found a CSX railroad spike. And that is really cool. That obviously is a railroad spike, which has to do with the railroad. And they used them to, put the rails down with and stuff. And it's fun to find things like that. I'm a little bit of a train buff, but not nearly like what my husband is. But my hope, for 2 years I've said this, that I hope to be able to go to some of the railroad places around Tennessee, maybe even Western North Carolina and Southwest Virginia, and talk about some travel and some railroad history, because it's really pretty cool. And I've got this whole long list of places that I want to go. It's just things keep happening. Like wrecking my van last year. That put a dent in some of the things. Okay, Spider-Man the Hero has a person turquoise waving. So, back at you. I don't have turquoise. I'm just going to be kind of, rust colored waving. So anyway, for you all, I just want to create just kind of a low-key space on Sunday nights, just to kind of hang out. I'm moving the time though. We've done 7:30, we've done 9 o'clock, we've done 10 o'clock. So I'm going to go back to 7 o'clock. Now, according to YouTube analytics, this is like one of the worst time slots that I could go with a live stream on this channel, because Google Analytics tells me that most people are online earlier that visit my channel and they're not online later. But I also know that for my core group, yay, we've got some members in right now, Spider-Man the Hero, obviously core, and Lionel Trains is part of my core. I also know that for some of you all, this time and later it is better. So I'm trying to hit kind of a happy medium by going at 7 as opposed to like 7:30 or later, or as opposed to 2 o'clock in the afternoon and up, because supposedly the best time for me to go live is before 2 p.m. and this is all Eastern time. And I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily mind going live at 2 p.m. on Sundays. It's just that sometimes we have meetings at church and I don't get home until 1:30. And I figure if it's like that for me, it's like that for other people. And I don't want to be an inconvenience. So yeah, so having said all of that, that's kind of what we're looking at as far as the channel. So I wanted to give you all just that little update. And we got some things coming up over the next few weeks that I'm going to try to be changing, just some of the behind the scenes stuff, trying to get a different camera I've been saving up. So hopefully that'll help make the screen a little clearer. I don't know, but I'm going to try. So anyhow, that's just kind of where we are. And if you are new to the channel and you have not subscribed, we would love for you to do so, because where I share real life travel about a service dog and just real life in general. If this is your vibe and you don't want to have life keep you from living, if this is your vibe, we would love for you to subscribe and join us on the journey. So be part of our Bodacious fam, okay? All right. So the ebook, I'm going to pull that up. And like I said, the link is in the description box. So I'm going to go down there. I just want to show it to you because, like I said, this is just something, and it is just from me to you. And so what happens is when you click the link, it's a bit.ly link, it's a short link, so I can see if anybody actually wanted the ebook. When you click that, it may give you a window or a message saying, are you wanting to go here? And if so, click yes. I can't show that to you because I already clicked it, but just know it's on there. Is it on there all the time? Apparently not, from what I'm hearing. So I don't know. I guess if you've clicked a bit.ly link before, it's on there. I don't know. But the whole thing came about because some of you all have been sharing your stories with me. Yes, thank you, Spider-Man. Spider-Man's asking everybody to give a thumbs up, so please do that. But some of y'all have been sharing your stories with me about kind of life in general being tough, which is part of the reason why I just want to open it up on Sunday nights, and we'll talk about whatever you want to talk about. I'll give you an update on some of the things that's been going on with me or some of the plans. But I have really received a heartwarming number of messages, PMs, email, and I'm on Facebook and Threads and Instagram. So I've gotten several PMs there about people, and you're sharing and you're telling me that you're having a hard time going places and doing things. And for some people, it's really hard to even go to the grocery store, or whether it's mentally or physically. And about how some folks have been having a hard time with their family taking their disability seriously. And I'm like, come on. We have, this channel has got the most supportive people anywhere. We have seen you all thousands of times really help me with like toy giveaways and hurricane supplies and things like that. So it's really touched me to hear about, people having different struggles, whether it's trying to find a washing machine that works in your van or in your tiny home, or being in your car and you're having to figure out how you can cook on a mini griddle because maybe you've just got a Jackery or some kind of, battery that you plug in and charge while you're at work during the day because you're in your car at night. And I want to help with that. But first, I think the biggest thing is encouragement that we need. So that's why I put together the affirmations booklet. And I know affirmations are not for everybody. I totally get that. But I just want to try. So without further ado, here's a look at the affirmations booklet. And it's totally, I don't even know who's downloading it. So have at it. So I wanted to create, I know a lot of you all are into coloring. I'm not, but a lot of you all are. So I wanted to create it with the idea that you would have some coloring sheets. So if you like the color, if you're an adult and you're into an adult coloring book for free, I've got a few designs on here. But it is a 12-page ebook. And this is my first ever New Year Affirmations ebook. And like I said, it's just a gift from me to you, a reminder that you can walk through 2026 and deal with whatever the year throws your way. I have utmost confidence that you can do that. Sometimes it's going to be hard, but the big thing I want y'all to know, especially viewers on my channel, is that you're strong, you're capable, and most of all, you are worthy. And so I put that right there in the ebook because we've got amazing people on this channel. So anyway, I'm just flipping through and showing you a couple of things here, but it's all free. And I got some flowers if you'd like to color them. And so this is weekly. So it's one affirmation each week. And the one for this week is, this year, I give myself permission to be imperfect and to embrace who I am, because last time I checked, none of us were perfect. And that's okay. We can be who we are. And last week's affirmation was that resolutions are popular every new year. And I read where they last on average 2 weeks. So for 2026, the affirmation is to simply embrace the promise of the new year and not get stressed out about, making a resolution or not. So anyway, going through, there's nothing wrong with taking a break. Then we've got March and some just general. Our last one has a butterfly for the promise of the new year. But and then I put in some more coloring sheets for adults who like to color. So hopefully you all will find that helpful and encouraging. Hopefully. So I just, I wanted to do something because you all have been so nice and such a help. You matter. So going on with me, I know, having said that, going on with me, I actually had somebody the other day who I wish was here right now, and I hope that he sees this live stream because he was like so wrong about me and so wrong about life. But he sent me a message. Actually took the time and trouble to email it. Be Bodacious at mail.com is where he sent it. And he said that I could not possibly, in his opinion, I could not possibly go all these places, and I couldn't possibly go all these places with my service dogs. Now, I don't know what planet this person is on, but yeah, I mean, come on. He could not possibly follow this channel. Could not possibly follow this channel at all. And I feel really sad for him, because the only way that you are going to try to make life bad for other people is if you're not a happy person yourself. And I was really surprised that that anybody would say that. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. So yeah, so I'm going to show you just a couple of photos. Let me see if I can pull them up. And I've got a little video shorts that I'm going to be putting up, because it's just crazy that he did. Oh, it's just absolutely crazy. So I'm going to pull these up, which takes me an extra minute now to type these days, because I got a broken arm. And for you all who don't know, I fell. That's kind of one of the things that I do. I have foot drop. It's taken me a long time to overcome and deal with a foot drop. And some of y'all may not know, I spent like 5 months with my foot relearning how to take that stepping motion. So yeah, it's just the way life is. Todd Saw is in here. Hi, Todd. How are you? Welcome. So, all right. I'm just going to pull this up. I'm just going to flip through them, just because somebody said I couldn't possibly. And anytime somebody says that I couldn't possibly do something, I know a bunch of you all feel the same way, but it's like, I'm going to do it or die kind of thing. So I'm just going to pull these up. Okay, this was in New Mexico. I went to the Bosque del Apache, which is a national wildlife refuge. This one, I don't know where we're going on this one, but this is Sir Fluffy, and he is my second service dog. I'm replacing Pipsy, and Pipsy is who you see in this photo. And he has just literally run us ragged on this one. He's a Labrador Retriever, so when he sees birds, sometimes he feels like he has to spring into action. And then there's Sir Fluffy. There's another one about us.
Yeah, you ready?
I just see that around. That's a character from the book that I wrote. I think Todd mentioned that he's got some copies that he's giving to the library. So, yay, which I really appreciate. Got 2 books. One of them is Pipsy Goes to Service Dog School. The other one is he helps after a hurricane. And we're going on from there. I've got one in development that's about him going to a dance recital, and another one about him going to a birthday party. So what I hope to do there is show what people who have a disability really can do, and everyday stuff, and kind of make it a little bit more accepted and take the stigma off. So that's what I'm trying to do. So here we are, Florida on that. He's just playing on that one. There's another graphic. We are out. I don't remember if that one's Texas or Oklahoma. And he's just playing on this. And that's another thing I get. Do service dogs get to play? Yeah, they get to play. They get to be your regular dogs. They never fully turn off, but they do get to play. And Pipsy's favorite game is fetch. He loves that. Ironically, that's not something I can't do tennis balls with Sir Fluffy, and it makes me sad because he would love to, but his mouth is so much bigger than a tennis ball. So I have Pipsy here, who's weighing in at about 65, 70 pounds, And I've got Sir Fluffy, who is now right at 100, 103, something like that. So that makes a difference. Here we are at, I forgot where. Hold on. Let me see if I can, well, go back. We are at Pecos National Historic Site. And that's his bark ranger tag, which is, we'll talk about that on a future video, but it's just basically that you're going to bag his poop and take it out with you. And it's, you know, so yeah. So here's some other photos. And like I said, I've got, just skip the ones that you see about the graphics. Sir Fluffy is my third service dog. I have my first one was Tomlin. He was a lovely husky mix who was just so curious about everything. So he loved for me to open up my laptop and let him watch whatever video was going on. And he went a bunch of places with me too. We have been, I've made 5 trips now. Sorry, 10 trips, five round trips. So 10 legs on the Alaska Highway. And Sir Fluffy has not done that yet because I just got him in October. But if all goes well, one day he'll be making that trip with me. And just lots and lots of places. Because, you know, just because you have a disability does not mean that you have to stay home. Now, there may be, you know, if you have cancer and you're on oxygen, or if you're on a ventilator or a trachea, something like that, then that does change things, obviously. But for most of us, you know, we can get out and we can find a way to enjoy life, even if you have problems. So, yeah. And I was hoping to show you a large photo of my Google Maps not live, but my Google Maps timeline. But apparently that's only available on my phone, and I'm going to have to put that up later. But I just wanted to kind of give you some ideas there. And like I said, I do fall. I have epilepsy. I have blood sugar problems. I have severe asthma. You know, I can just make you a list of all these things. So what I want you to know is that you can do things even though you have these other issues potentially going on. You have to work them into your life. You have to learn how to integrate it, and you have to accept that you have a disability. Some people use the term differently abled. I don't know if that's something that you who are listening right now use, but a lot of people do, and that's okay. The main thing is to accept it. Someone told me one time that they could not possibly really go out and travel and do anything because they have epilepsy. And I just didn't understand. And I'm like, yeah, I do. I get it. They were afraid to be out and doing life. And I'm like, they were like, well, what if I'm out somewhere in public and I had a seizure? I'm like, yeah, I've done that. I said, what if you're home by yourself and you have a seizure? And they were like, well, and I said, when did you have a seizure last? And the woman said it had been over 10 years. Hey, Valerie Reese is in the chat. Hi, Valerie. Welcome. And she said it had been over 10 years since she had a seizure, and she's been driving for a number of years. And I said, well, what would it look like for you if you went on a travel experience that's maybe a bus tour? Or because she was like, she wanted to see the country when she was younger, and she's like, I just can't. And I'm like, well, what if you went on a bus tour where you're not driving, you're with other people, and you just let, the bus driver know that, hey, if you ever don't feel good, um, there might be a reason. Just to kind of, what if you gave him a little heads up on that? You may not have to, but what if? And she's like, oh, well, I could never do something like that. And it was the fear that was keeping her home. Not that she had to stay home, but it was this fear of the what if. And so we went through several things there. And I said, well, you're telling me that you're afraid. You're telling me that you couldn't possibly take a bus tour because what if something happened on the bus tour? But that's why you have travel insurance. That's why you let people know and you make a plan for that what if, and we went through some other things. I'm like, well, what if you took a short trip and it was a girlfriend's trip, and you went to your girlfriend and say, hey, I'll pay part of the gas if you'll drive, or I'll cover all of the gas if you drive and we take your car. Something totally reasonable. People go for girlfriend trips, weekend getaways. Men go on hunting trips, golfing trips, and do things all the time. And it's people who have a disability, whether they have a service dog or not. For me, I opted for a service dog because of the advantages there, such as, balance and brace, helping me walk, things like that, but also being able to go and get my husband. If you guys saw the last live stream, you saw some demonstrations on things, except I told the service dogs to go get my husband and he was outside taking the trash out. So bad timing on that. But how do you all do things? If you're here and you have a disability, how do you all do your daily things? Because it's not just about travel. And travel does not have to mean going to the next state or going a few states over. Travel can be going to the next little burg and taking a day trip. It doesn't have to be expensive. It can be the cost of gas and whatever picnic lunch you bring from home. But we build these walls, and so I'm just hoping to break down some of the walls to help you all feel better in the future about what you're doing. So with this lady who was like, oh no, I have epilepsy, I can't travel. And I'm like, well, but about a bus tour. And she didn't think she could do that, but she's also never checked into a bus tour. So I'm like, well, what if you just contact your travel agent? AAA has travel agents and so forth. What if you just contact the travel agent and say, hey, where would I do this and how? She'd never thought about, offering to pay gas if her best friend would drive or whatever. And I will tell you that having a second person on a road trip doesn't just cut the cost for each person, but it can up the fun level, because people are not designed to live in a vacuum at all. But she had never thought about that. And I said, well, what if you one of the towns that she wanted to go to was not that far. It was like about 3 hours from her home. And I said, what if you just made that a day trip and you pack your lunch and do your trip that way? And she was like, oh, that was something she could do. But she had never really thought about that. And I felt kind of bad for her because, don't give up on your dreams. If you've got a dream and you want to go places, you want to do something, there may well be a way that you can do it. Just look outside the box and talk to your doctor too, because your doctor is a great resource. And if you don't know your limits, your doctor can help you identify them and help you go beyond. So let me go to the chat. Okay, so Todd Saw is saying, I'm planning on a very difficult hike/climb next weekend. I have PAD, only 40% of normal blood flow to the legs. Good for you. Good for you. And he goes on to say, whoops, wrong button. We'll have to stop and rest often, but I am going to do that. See, there you go. There you go. I think that is beautiful, and I think you can do it. Now, Valerie is saying that the main thing is to know your limitations and not pushing yourself too far so you don't hurt yourself. That's huge. Now, I think that's a lot too about accepting that you may have different limitations. Valerie is also supporting Todd. See, I told you all we have the best people here on this channel. And that's why I got the free ebook down there for you. So make sure y'all get that. And don't forget to give me a like on the live stream, please. But yeah, the main thing is to know your limitations and not pushing yourself too far. I took my grandmother on a trip. It was a crazy time in my life, but I did a multi-generational road trip with a grandmother who was sick and 2 kids with chronic health issues, and then there's me. It was an experience, folks, but we drove from, let's see, we were in East Tennessee at the time, and my grandmother had planned this really big trip out west. She and my grandfather were going to go do it, but he passed away before it was going to be their 50th anniversary trip. And we had the anniversary party for them one weekend, and the next weekend he passed away. So they didn't get to do the big trip. So in the meantime, my grandmother's health declines. And I wanted to do this trip with the kids because I wanted them to have memories. I had hoped for good memories, but anyway, it was a memorable trip, and I wanted them to have the memories with my grandmother. And the whole thing was, she was like, she wasn't sure she could go, and we're talking about physically. And we had just come into a little bit of money. So I was able to pay for the food, the hotel bills, and everything. And she wasn't going to have to worry about a thing except her health condition. So I'm like, you know what? We're going to go, and I'll take you to the doctor. I'll pay your copay if you have one. And we'll just ask the doctor, what does he think? And he was just all enthusiastic, hugely supportive about the trip. And she came and she's like, well, I guess I can go. And I'm like, okay, I'll spend the night at your house, and we'll leave the day after Labor Day weekend, and I'll spend the night at your house that Sunday night, and we'll leave at like 5 in the morning. So that's what we did. But it was a crazy time in my life because we just come into a little bit of money. It was a little temporary little settlement there. She didn't have to worry about anything. And the schools that my daughters attended, it was Johnson County, Tennessee. Now, some person with the school system thought it'd be a great idea to take the cafeterias done and refurbish all of them all at the same time in all the class schools in the county. So school was delayed starting by about 30 days. If you all have kids, what happens getting close to the end of summer? They start going, and they're like ready to go back to school, and you're like ready for them to go back to school, except I didn't have any place to send them. So going on the trip filled that vibe. But my grandmother we had to do some planning. But we made it work. We drove from East Tennessee across the country to the Grand Canyon. She wanted to go see family in Phoenix. So we saw family in Phoenix. Then we dropped down south, went to San Antonio, went to Houston, dropped down I-10 because there was family also down on the coast that she wanted to go see, and came up back through Florida. So it was this really, really, really big trip with two kids that have chronic health issues. I'm having to homeschool one of them because she's been having problems physically that impacted her ability to go to school. And we just had to take everything slow and easy, one day at a time. But what we did was we did not set a firm date for having to be anywhere because we wanted to build in the flexibility. I also told our family members that she wanted to see, both in Phoenix and Mississippi and Georgia and whatnot, hey, if something bad happens, I may have to come straight home. So not only do we not know for sure when we're coming, but if something happens, just know I might not be there. And everybody was okay with that. Everybody was real cool. So yeah, I'll talk about some of the challenges we had to overcome in a second. Valerie says, main thing to know your limitations. Yes, I think I popped that up. Yeah, I did. And Todd is saying, thanks, Val. The climb I'll be making is the same one Switchback Texan did in his video that came out the other day. Very cool. And Valerie says, before Steve and I got married, I always took solo trips with my kids or by myself. There you go. Which is huge. Yeah, we did. Todd said, wow, you all drove some miles. Yep. I do crazy trips like that, though, when we went to get my service dog. Oh, my poor husband. But when we went to get my service dog back in October, we had to go to Kansas to get him. But I had also already promised our granddaughter that we would be at her first recital. Yeah, in New Mexico, about an hour or so outside of Albuquerque to the south. So we get this call about the service dog, and I'm like, can we work this out so I can leave like a couple of days early and maybe skip graduation and come back later, and you all put the stamp of graduation approval on us? And she's like, yeah, what's going on? And I'm like, well, we're supposed to be in Albuquerque or south of Albuquerque on that day after graduation. And she's looked at me, she's like, oh, Lord. So we went from Virginia, just really edge tip of Virginia, over to Kansas first, back down to New Mexico, and then home across 40. It's just kind of like the way we roll sometimes. Nothing, though, has been longer than going to Alaska. And I've done that, like 5 round trips, 10 legs on the Alaska highway. And I would go again. I went for mission trips every time. And I've told everybody, I'm like, if y'all need somebody to drive to Alaska, I'm your girl. Just pay the gas. And now it would be a little bit harder because I wrecked the van, but I would figure out a way. And that's okay. Sometimes my husband went with me for those trips, and sometimes he didn't. But we looked at the total picture, and we took some precautions. I had to pace myself, which at one point, pacing myself on the trip kind of went right out the window. Because the last time I drove, it was when British Columbia was having some major forest fires and the smoke was all coming south. So the way we handled it was I took the map in, I took the route, and showed my doctor. I said, this is what I want to do, but I don't know which route to take. And if I go this way, it's going to be a lot longer, but I'm going to miss the smoke up until I get close to British Columbia. And if I go this way, it's a straight shot, but I'm going to be driving through lots of smoke going up through near Chicago and so forth. And she was like, oh my God, just go to New Mexico and then go take the Canadian American Highway, I-25 on up through there. So we had to put that in place. She sent me with extra medicine. So I had extra inhalers. She put me on a steroid inhaler that I took every day just to make sure. She sent me up with a steroid dose pack with some antibiotics. So I already had that in the car with me. All I had to do was, message her and say, hey, I'm having to start these, and let her know what my O2 stats were, because I had to take that along too. So we put those precautions in place, and some of you all would have to do that too. And we also, we're like talking about stopping frequently and knowing the limits. And one of the things about the van for van life is that van made it possible for me to just pull over whenever I got tired and I needed to. So if I was exhausted, we could just pull over to a rest area, Walmart, Cracker Barrel, and take a nap, Sam's Club, Cabela's, and so forth. We did have some rather interesting experiences on every trip. Anytime you are going to be on a long trip, plan on having car problems, because like going to Alaska, I wound up doing like 12,000 miles round trip. That's a year's worth of driving. And so one of the women at church, she was like all concerned that I would be on the road and have problems. And I'm like, it's going to happen. So I just have to figure out what kind of plan do I put in place if that happens. So in addition to going to the doctor, I made sure that I had a cell phone going across Canada that would work where I had a signal. We bumped up the AAA membership and made sure that I had AAA Premier with RV, so I would have not 100 miles of towing, but 200 miles of towing that we would have, and made sure that I had enough put back, so if I needed a couple of nights in a hotel, I could do that. And we just put that plan in place. And when I got to British Columbia, I had to take part of that plan and chuck it right out the window, because the forest fires in British Columbia were extremely dense. The smoke was unreal. There were times that I could not read the road signs 3 lengths in front of me. And so what happened was my service dog started reacting to the smoke. Now, I'm not talking about my service dog getting sick. He didn't. But he kept alerting to me saying, hey, Mom, something's wrong, something's wrong. And he kept giving that alert. And I'm like, there's nothing I could do. So when I looked at the situation, I kind of had to back up and punt. And so my answer was I just drove until I absolutely could not drive anymore. So that was a 23-hour day in the car. I had to get him out a couple of times, obviously. But other than getting him out and grabbing something to eat from the refrigerator in the van, I didn't stop other than that. And, well, I might have taken a cat nap or two. I'm not sure. But anyway, 23 hours is what Google Maps said I drove. And that was just because I felt like I had to get out of the smoky area. So yeah. But I did put the plan in place. And like with my grandmother, we put the plan in place of her going to the doctor first. And what we did there was I said, we're going to be going, and this was in the early 2000s. This was really before you could just go to a pharmacy and they would type in your name and phone number and stuff. Um, so we kind of had to get all of her prescriptions ready to go, and that meant having them written on paper. So, which the doctor's office was good to do. The problem was she felt really awkward about it, but that was just how it had to be. You know, that was just the way it was. So, yeah. And I'm looking for a photo here. I've got it somewhere. And I'm going to pull it up just to give you an idea of what some of the smoke was that I went through. I thought I had it, and now I can't find it. Hold on. Ah. Okay, found it. Let me pull it up. And in the meantime, Valerie says it's a 10-hour drive to her family in New York, and she used to be able to drive that in one day and can't anymore. That's fine. I have to break it up into a 2-day drive. And see, that's where it's important to understand your limits, as you mentioned earlier. Okay. I am pulling this up even as we speak, because the smoke was really thick. It was a little crazy, but there again, one of the things we did was we knew that the smoke was going to be bad because we had heard the weather reports. And so the next thing you do is you start making your plans. And here we go. Got it. So let me share this photo. Here we go. So hopefully it's coming across okay and you all can see it. But this is part of what I drove through on the Alaska Highway. So I could have looked at the whole thing and said, whoa, it's smoky, I can't do this. But instead, we just found a way to be able to kind of work around what was going on and put that plan in place. And you all can do that too. You can do this by making your plan. Everything's about planning. But yeah, that hopefully will give you kind of an idea there what was going on. And you can see that kind of smoke line. And so part of the time what happened was I would go through pockets of extremely dense smoke, and I would pull over to the side of the road to a pull off so I could check some of the fire maps around me and determine, was I going to go driving near a forest fire, or was it far enough away that I could do so safely? Because if I was approaching a forest fire, what I wanted to do was try to approach that fire at night. And I don't know if this is a smart thing to do or not, but it worked for me because at night you can see the flames a little easier. But you got the flip side of the fact that you're on the Alaska Highway, and the further north you go, the less night you have. Todd says it's very stressful and wears you out to deal with something like that. Yeah, it can be. It can be. But I feel like if you put the right plans into place, it cuts a lot of that stress level. Yeah. And I will admit that having the van was very helpful because of being able to just pull over anytime. And with the van, we had it fixed up with toileting, water. I could cook in it. We had solar. I had this really ghetto-looking air conditioner hanging out the back window, but I could run it off of solar some. I only got like about an hour of running time on the air conditioner, but at night especially, it was enough to really cool the van down. And we got the van so I could travel. So it was one of those things that we looked into. And now, obviously, it means hotels. But yeah, it can really stress you out. But you've made a plan to deal with your hiking, right? You're going hiking, and you made your plans on how to do that. That's going to be the best for you, right? So it's just the way it is. Valerie talked about knowing your limitations and not pushing yourself too far, and that's huge. So with me, one of my limitations is I fall, and I tend to sometimes break bones when I fall. But that's going to happen whether I'm home or out. I broke it this time falling in my backyard. I broke it the first time back in June at a rest area because I hit a low place in the yard. So of the two, I'd rather break it while I'm out doing something and having fun than to break it in the backyard. Oh, you meant the driving conditions. Yeah. Even dense fog is stressful to drive in. Yes. Yeah, it is. It is. Um, and it was not being able to see the road signs well that was really a problem for me. I like being able to see where I'm going as far as road signs go, and there's not that many of them in some parts of Alaska. So yeah, it actually happened one time where a girlfriend and I were going up, and we took the wrong turn, just because we couldn't see the sign well. We saw a little bit more of Alaska than we had intended to, and we had just come out of a forest fire situation where the flames were huge. And it wound up becoming, until 23, it actually wound up becoming one of the largest forest fires that Canada had seen. So I think it was like over 500,000 acres, or around 500,000, something like that. So it was incredible. But yeah, it takes a lot out of you. So does storms, though, too. Stormy weather is hard to drive in for the same reason. It's the visibility. But yeah, you get some really gorgeous pictures, though, sometimes. Here's one that I took, and it was obviously near sun. I don't remember if it was sunset or sunrise, but all that orange in the sky is courtesy of smoke. So, and unlike a lot of fires, this one was actually natural. It was a lightning strike. Whereas, and this is smoky too, but not as bad. Most fires, they say, are human set. So if you're ever going to the Alaska Highway or up North Montana or anywhere during fire season, and you get pulled over, just know that it could be because you need to tie your chains up, because they're concerned about sparks setting off a fire. And at one point, I was on the Alaska Highway and actually wound up with fire on both sides of the road. So that made life a little interesting at that point. Definitely don't want to do that again. So yeah. Well, thank you for coming in. It was nice talking to you. I'm going to look for your hiking video. Also, I want to see the video where you get the doll to your mom. I just haven't had a chance to. Todd, I'm going to try to come to the live stream. My problem is I have a 5 o'clock meeting, usually on Tuesdays, so I don't know that I can get back. If not, I'm going to watch it on replay. I always do that. Right. But thank you. We'll leave running, but I will be away. Have a blast on your hike. I think that's exciting. I'm glad he's getting to go to do that. I hope everybody else is excited for him too, because that's a pretty awesome thing. Pretty awesome. So, those are a few of the things that I've had to overcome when traveling. And certainly the experience with my grandmother and both daughters got a little tense at times. And when you're doing a multi-generational trip, I think you have to, there again, be a little more flexible, build more time in, because, you have that extra dynamic of health issues with the grandmother, the dynamics of two sisters who are 18 months apart in the back seat, and they sometimes, you would never think that about my darling little children, but sometimes they did squabble, just saying. And sometimes they and my grandmother would squabble. And that's when I would say, okay, dokie, we're going to find a hotel room. Girls, you get to be in the pool. I'll go outside and watch. And grandmother, you can take a nap. And that's just how it goes. Hey, Busy Lady is in the house. Hey, Busy. Welcome. Busy, you missed my thing earlier. I'm going to try on Sunday nights doing the live streams at 7. I looked at my Google Analytics, and apparently most of the people who watch my channel are at 2 o'clock and up on Saturday afternoons, and then it tapers off. So 7 o'clock seems to be a workable time period for me and for some of the people, and it doesn't just, it drops off a lot starting at about 8. The traffic to my site just plummets. So I'm trying to do something that'll be more convenient for people. So if this doesn't work out, tell me. Valerie says she's doing good. Busy, how are you doing? And also, just to remind you and let you know, I have a free Affirmations ebook that I have linked down below. This was my first day that it's been live, so you all are getting to hear about it first. And I just wanted to do something for you all. So you don't have to register, you don't have to pay for it or anything. It's just a weekly affirmation guide just from me to you all. And I know that some of you like to color. I don't know if Valerie or Busy Lady, I don't know if you all like to color, but if you do, I made sure to have coloring pages in there for adults to color, to kind of de-stress. So you can, feel free to print it out. Feel free. And I did use a bit.ly link to shorten the whole big long URL because it's on Google Drive, but it also tells me if anybody downloads it. Yay! Well, I hope you like it. Let me know. I've never done this before. I've never done like a free ebook, but I have heard so much from people who are having a hard time that I want to try and help. So I thought maybe somebody would find value out of having a free ebook. And several years ago, I actually wrote an affirmations book, and it's out of print now, but I had some of those that I could go back and pull from. So yeah, but this is just one affirmation a week to try to give everybody a little something positive to look at. So I'm anxious to hear if you like it. And after the stream, I'm going to post it in our Facebook group, so you all have it there too. So yeah, so I hope that helps. So, okay. Well, I appreciate y'all coming in tonight. And I'm so excited that I actually got Streamlabs and YouTube to work. So, yay. And some of the things that I'm going to be working on with the channel is I'm saving up to upgrade the camera, and I'm looking at getting a new microphone. So, slowly. Yeah, Valerie, you can definitely print some extra copies. Go for it. Yeah. And now and I have got some coloring sheets for Service Dog Tips eBooks. And if you want, if these are kids that are like younger kids that are going to be coloring, I can send that to you too. If you want to take some and just print them off. So just, let me know. Let me see if I can pull one of them up right quick. Because, I'm not going to be famous. I don't think I have that in me. I came close to that once, but that's okay. Let me see if I can find it. Coloring. Oh, I should go into pictures. Okay, I don't see it super fast, and they may be on my other computer. But anyway, I have some coloring sheets. I've got a book signing coming up as whenever my books get off of back order, I'm going to do the book signing. And so what I want to do, I don't want any kid to walk away empty-handed from the book signing. So that's why I wanted to do the coloring sheets. And so when I do the signing, I'm going to be doing it over at the long-term recovery group office here. And I'm taking the crate. So Service Dog Tipsy will be with me, but he'll also have a place to go if he gets tired and needs a break. And I'll have the coloring sheets. So hopefully it'll be a fun, positive time. Okay, they're unwed mothers. Okay. So they might be able to use the coloring sheets even for their kids. So yeah, take whatever you want. In the mother's home that she stays in when she's there volunteering. Okay, cool. I'm glad you like the pics. I'm glad. Yay! So that's exciting. Well, everybody's been really nice to me. So I've been trying to rack my brain to come up with some way to say thanks. And if this goes over well, I'll try to do one quarterly until we get to the end of the year, because I have some of the affirmations. Can you make a video on how to do a voiceover sometime, perhaps? Yeah, I can do that. A lot of that has to do with your software. What kind of video software are you using, can I ask? Because if you're trying to do it on just the general stuff that comes on the app of your phone, your software may not be able to do it. But if you're using something like CapCut or Movavi or some of the others, then it'll work better. Personally, for my phone, I like CapCut. One of the reasons why I like it is it's free and I'm cheap. So, okay, Valerie said her old software did not do it. Okay. Oh, you don't have any yet. Okay. Just for my YouTube vids, free preferably. Check out CapCut. Check that one out. I think you'll be really pleased with it. I did go ahead, at one time, I did go ahead and upgrade to the paid version, but I don't know that I still have that. Let me see. Let's see. They have it for a PC too. Okay, download for free. products, video. They've got video editor for desktop and video editor for mobile, creative suite, background remover, stabilization, all kinds of things like that. It says you can edit online for free. So I think I bought it because at the time I wanted to try taking backgrounds off. But as far as your regular stuff, you don't have to pay for that, which is one of the reasons why I really like it. And I think, okay, I see now Valerie says Canva will do it with a paid subscription. So I have not looked into that yet. But CapCut is. Let me make sure I'm spelling it right. I think it's just like it sounds, CAPCUT. Yeah. Yeah, and just so you can see well, I don't know if you can see the icon. Never mind, that was a bust. Right underneath the AccuWeather, there's a icon there. It's like an hourglass shape with a blue swoosh stripe underneath it. Yeah. Yep. CapCut. But I really like it. You can do some pretty cool things with that program. And like you can take vocals off, you can add vocals on. I'm sorry, you can take the sound off and you can add your voiceover, and you can add music. You can actually set the frames so that if you want it to zoom in on something for part of your video, you can set the keyframes and it'll do that. Take off the background, change the color, adjusting, all kinds of things. So I really like it. Your cooking vids do not look like poop. Yeah. So yeah, I like that for my phone. On the computer, I use Movavi just because that's what I've had for a while, and I paid for it. So I have, I think it's a 21 version or something, but once you pay for it, you're good. You own that, whereas it's not a subscription. So the only thing is, if you do Movavi, don't download the upgrade because it overwrites and you'll need to pay for your new prescription. So don't upgrade to a new version. You'll have to pay for it. The lighting, you use an old phone, but if I could play with editing, maybe they would look better. That's one of the things that you can adjust on CapCut. So yeah, so check into that. And you may want to, for your cooking videos, you may want to invest in a ring light. They're not expensive. Let me see if I can find out what I paid for mine real quick. I've had it for a while. Returns orders. Ring light. HT. Well, it helps if I spell it right. So the one I got is an overhead mount. It mounts on the table, and the current price is $33. Let me pull it up so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, now where's that? So this is what I've got, and you can see I purchased it 2 times. It clamps down, and I like that, so I can clamp it down to a table or to the edge of my counter. It's pretty tall though, but you can adjust it, and the light itself can flop over, which is nice. And you just put the cell phone in the center of the light. So you want a link to that? I can pop the link in, I think. Yep, there it is. So if you want to look at it, that is an affiliate link. So if you purchase, I might get a little commission on it. Sometimes you do and sometimes you don't. So yeah, but maybe that'll help and give you some ideas at least. Oh, vet bills. Ouch. What happened? What happened? I hope your kitty cat's going to be okay. Those are tough. I still remember having to do the GoFundMe for service dog Pipsy because he had the hip problem and stuff and had to take shock treatments, shockwave or sound wave, some kind of waves. I'm glad that's good. That's real good. I'm glad they got it. I'm sorry she has cancer, but I'm glad they got it. That's awesome. And the best news is she seems to be feeling good for now. So we'll just hope it stays that way. We'll just kind of pray on it, plan on it. So yeah, so I understand about vet bills. Anybody can understand about vet bills. So, and I kind of feel like I got stuck on service dog Pipsy because we had insurance, but insurance only allowed a little bit, and they denied stuff left and right. So we had several $1,000s worth of claims, and they allowed, like, I think they finally got almost to $500 to apply to the deductible in a year. It's like, makes no sense, but it's a racket, just like regular insurance is. I don't have Sir Fluffy covered. Well, hopefully it won't come back for a long time. And if it does, hopefully they can get that again too. You never know. Yeah, I wasn't real happy. That was Embrace Pet Insurance. And it was things like, oh, well, when you first got your dog, the vet said that she thought she saw a, quote, little bit of plaque. So we're not going to cover his dental cleaning, but after your next dental cleaning, we'll cover that. We'll apply it to the deductible first, of course. And then I'm like, just never mind. So I had them on the Banfield Wellness Plan anyway, and they paid out much more than the insurance did. The vet was super helpful. Company they use called Cherry. Never heard of that one. I have Care Credit for some of the service dog expenses, but I've never heard of Cherry. I may have to look into that though, because I don't have service dog Sir Fluffy covered, because I'm just like, I feel like I got stuck with service dog Pipsy on some of his bills. So I was once bitten, twice shy. Although the vet at the emergency vet hospital suggested Trupanion, she said they'd had real good luck with that. So I don't know. Kind of almost a darned if you do, darned if you don't thing. fairly new. The vet has to agree to let the patients pay with it. Gotcha. I think Care Credit is that way. I'm not 100% sure. We took it out before Service Dog Pixie had some of his problems, but I know one of our vets, maybe it was the orthopedic vet, one of them didn't wasn't in the Care Credit plan or group, so that's why we had to do the GoFundMe. But I'm writing it down. I'm going to check into it just in case. Because you never know, and I think it's good to have the information. So now, covering Sir Fluffy under the Banfield plan was a good choice for us because it works so well with Pipsy. And with that, you get like, they've got different levels, but you can get his heartworm covered and things like that. And with it, they're nationwide. So traveling with a service dog, I'm usually within an hour or two of a Banfield, and I can get online and I can talk to a vet tech at any time, and it's got some telehealth visits included. So, and if I go into the office, I don't have to pay a fee. So all of my office visits are included under the plan. But it's not insurance. I'll look at it. I will look at it. I think it's important to know, what your options are. They do a soft credit check, so that was nice. Yeah, that's good. Isn't it crazy that they keep up with how many credit checks you've had done? Makes no sense to me. So, oh well. But I hope she goes well. Keep posting. Post some updates. I guess you're going to post some and keep posting. I hope so anyway. Between having kids and having pets and having bills and daily life, yeah, everybody, yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I'd like to keep up with it. I'll put her on my prayer list too. Let me write that down. So I don't forget. Okay, got it. Husbands too, yes. Oh Lord, yes. Absolutely, yes. I know with us, medical bills have been crazy for us. So that impacts too. Lila May, okay. I didn't have her name down. I just had your pet. So Lilah. I didn't know if you wanted to give her name publicly or not. Some people don't. I mean, with my guys, I don't care. So, all right, I have it, and you're going to post updates. All righty. Well, thank you all for coming out tonight. We're a little over the hour by about 20 minutes. Sorry about that. Lots of vids with her name. I thought so. Because she's a little precious. She's the one that likes to get in the box, right? She likes boxes. All right, you take care too. Thank you all for coming in. I hope you have a great week and go out, be bodacious. Don't let life get in the way of living and just enjoy it and enjoy the ebook too. You all take care. Good night, everyone. Good night.